speaking of inevitable, the Kansas City Chiefs winning football games feels a bit of an inevitable at this point. So Kansas City wins what was not a very, well, it's an entertaining game for certain on Black Friday, and kudos to the NFL and Amazon for doing this, but a game which there's no other way to say it, just did not play well at all against the Raiders. Survived because of a terrible snap. Aiden O'Connell should have been more aware, but it was still a bad snap by the center. Worst case, take the delay of game. Now, again, do I think Carlson's going to make that kick after he had been abysmal before that? Probably not. But the point of all this for Kansas City is this, because it's funny, Chiefs fans see me as like an ally and Chiefs haters don't. I said last week when they beat the Carolina Panthers on a walk-off field goal, I said, folks, we're missing the plot in this. They are bored. Mahomes is it's reflected in a lot of ways in Mahomes on third down. Like it's like first down, second down, but we got to have it on third down. I'm going to be great there. And I'm going to step up my game in the last, 8 weeks or so. I'm going to have a passer over 100. Not quite the old Mahomes, but darn close to it. Still elite play at the quarterback position. One of the best in the league this year. I'm hearing Patrick Mahomes having a terrible season. He's been pretty good according to the numbers, especially recently since they got DeAndre Hopkins. But what I find logically fallible with the criticism of the Kansas City Chiefs is, well, bad day at the office against the Raiders. They didn't play well. Shouldn't have won this game. Therefore, they're not contenders. Oh, I don't know. Call me crazy. Maybe I'm watching the games wrong. Yeah, they did have a bad day at the office. It wasn't a symptom of being bored, as I've talked about over the course of their many close wins. They had a bad game. First of all, they won. Kudos to them for doing that. Teams have bad games all the time over the course of a 17-game season. I can make a case that a team I think is going to meet the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, the Detroit Lions, who I love. People watch my show. I love the Lions. That's my guy. Detroit did not play well on Thanksgiving Day. They didn't. Chicago, if not for Eberflus falling apart, could have easily won that football game. But we give the Lions credit. Well, listen, they didn't play well, but they were tough, fought, they were resilient, and we give the Lions credit. Also, too fallible, logically fallible, when it comes to criticism of the Kansas City Chiefs. As limited at times as they can look this year, we do realize they looked just like this last year. Just like it. Matter of fact, worse. Because the difference in this year and last year, they were losing these games. They lost to the Raiders when Aiden O'Connell did not complete a pass after the first quarter. They lost to Buffalo. Questionable officiating call, but they lost. Buffalo played them. They lost to an Eagles team that was about to fall apart at the end of the season. Chiefs lost some duds last year. They lost to Denver, blew them out. It was Mahomes' first loss to the Broncos, if I remember correctly. Blew them out. And they won the Super Bowl. I'll say this, and this is 100% honest. If the Chiefs had gone out and say they beat Miami because they were never going to lose to the Miami Dolphins, come on. If Josh Allen and the Bills beat them in round 2, and then they came back this year and looked the same they looked last year, like, man, Mahomes finally didn't make an AFC championship game last year. They've taken a step back. Man, they're winning, but it looks like this last year, and they couldn't even get to the AFC title game. They won the Super Bowl looking worse than this. Not only that, because people, to me, are doing a real disservice equating this poor performance, objectively poor performance, against the Las Vegas Raiders. Aiden O'Connell threw for almost 350 yards. Brock Bowers, who, by the way, holy cow, this kid's special, just like I thought he'd be out of Georgia. Torched him. Bad defensive performance. Shaky offensive performance. Mahomes' missed throws didn't look good at all. They're equating this bad performance with their other close wins. Well, they're Isaiah Likely, toenail. Yes, from the Ravens then needing a 2-point conversion. Now, they may have gotten it. We don't know if they would have gotten it or not. And Kansas City outplayed Baltimore for the majority of that game. Week 2. Oh, Cincinnati. Hey, Yeah, it was a clear pass interference on, I believe it was Xavier Worthy or Rasheed Rice. Blatant pass interference. Blatant. Obvious pass interference. Week 3. Should have called a PI against Kyle Pitts. Yeah, there was 5 minutes left in the game. You tell me the Chiefs wouldn't have just, Mahomes does what he always does, just right down the field, and Harrison Butker would have walked it off. All of these different scenarios. Oh, Denver, they blocked the kick. It's like a let's miss the kick for Denver. Kansas City blocked the kick. We gave the Packers credit when they blocked Chicago's kick to win the game. Why don't we give the Chiefs credit when they do it? And something else I'm hearing, and we can show you the numbers, right? To show you a graphic right now, is, all these close wins, not a margin of victory. Let's look at some of these numbers because they tell a big story. Chiefs are 11-1, which is the best record all time through 12 games when going for a three-peat. They've won 14 straight games in one-score games. First all time. More on that in a second because they actually just set that record from another very notable dynasty. But 4.5 points per game differential. That's the worst for a team starting 11-1 better in history. You know who second place was? The 1976 Raiders, who won the Super Bowl. The other teams on that list, I think it's like the 04 Steelers, 2012 Falcons, teams like that, got to the conference title game, which is the bare minimum for the Chiefs in the Mahomes era. But let's go back. We'll put that graphic up again. Look at that middle stat. 14 straight wins in one-score games. First all time. Do you want to know whose record they broke? The New England Patriots between 2003 2004 in the midst of their repeat. Two repeat seasons. Back-to-back titles. Don't we remember with New England? When they'd win these close games, they'd make a play in the margins. Maybe there'd be a bad officiating call. So what? And it'd be like, the Patriots are lucky. They're lucky. League's fixed for the Patriots. I mean, they just want Tom Brady to. The Chiefs have won, or on a pace similar to that of the Patriots. Certainly early in their dynasty, they're basically identical to the Patriots. And people get tired of winning. And so people look for excuses. And so I think it's rich when folks, Rex Ryan said, seen teams like this. These are teams that go down in round 1. Okay, you want to stake your claim that? So the Chiefs going out in round 1 this year. The back-to-back champions who are 11-1, haven't lost a home game since Christmas. So it's been almost a calendar year with the best quarterback and the best coach and the best situational team, them in Pittsburgh. They're gonna get bounced in the first round, which Mahomes has never even been bounced in the second round. Okay, knock yourself out with that take. For the record, I'm in no way guaranteeing the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. They were my pick to do so. They may lose the Super Bowl. They may lose the AFC title game. Heck, they may lose in the divisional round to Pittsburgh or Buffalo. Maybe the Chargers surprise us all. Who knows? What I'm saying is for the people to act like, they're frauds. They're the 2020 Steelers. They are not the 2020 Steelers. Ben was old. Ben was washed. And, the Steelers hadn't won the last 2 championships, with the most recent of which looking exactly like the previous year. That's the number one point that I really can't understand. The Chiefs looked worse than this last year, and they won the Super Bowl. And for the record, Mahomes had a regular season and an amazing playoffs. I don't know. Look, I get people are tired of Chiefs. I get it. But we've got to be somewhat objective at this point. It's pretty insane, the narratives that are surrounding this dynasty. It's identical to what surrounded the Patriots dynasty for years. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.